Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633 and today we're taking a look at the Power Rangers Dino Supercharged Deluxe Titano Zord. Now, this is the final in-show Zord for Power Rangers Dino Charge and Power Rangers Dino Supercharged. There are other Zords such as the previously reviewed Dinosaurus and Ammonite Zord, along with both the Oviraptor and the Archelon Zord. Obviously this doesn't include all the repaints, but in terms of in-show Zords, this is the last Zord to be released in the toy line. And I have to admit, even for Bandai America standards, this is far more impressive than what I've seen in the past. Bandai America's done a fantastic job in designing their versions of the Power Rangers Dino Charge and Dino Supercharged Zords. Now obviously this falls into the category of various things were actually omitted in the design of the overall gimmick of the toy, but it still does what it needs to do. Obviously a lot of parts are still missing paint, but that's something to be expected to this point, so that's nothing really too surprising to see. Anyways, we'll take a look at the box, which has a really nice look of the Titano Charge Megazord right there. Just very colorful box, I have to admit. On the back, it shows that it has a gimmick with the charger, and it can work with several other Zords in the line. The sides are pretty much about the same, except we do have a full shot of the Titano Zord right there. Anyways, we'll now go into the Zord itself. Now the Zord is actually rather heavy for a Bandai America release. I'm actually really surprised that most of the design is still intact, including one of the main features of the Zord, which we'll get to once we go to the combination and so on. However, there is one thing that really does bug me, and that's actually not the omitting of the chargers. It's understandable why they no longer have the ability to keep the chargers inside, unlike the Japanese version of the Zord, which is known as Bragigas in Junin Sentai Koryuger, but other than that, there is only one major problem I have really with the Zord. Technically there's a few, but the one that really bugs me is the fact that this headpiece, which is supposed to form the helmet and so on, as you can see, slides off a little too easily. While you shake the Zord, it does not fall off. What happens is that even just the slightest touch like this will make it come off, and that's really annoying otherwise. I really wish this was a lot more secure than it is featured on the Zord itself. Otherwise, besides the missing paint deco and the omitted battery compartment, it's pretty much the same otherwise, sans the new gimmick on the Zord itself, since they obviously removed the electronic features of the Zord. Anyways, articulation-wise in the Zord, legs are kind of articulated, but technically these shouldn't really move because of the way that the joint is. It's not really a movement. While these on the back technically consider to be movement, these technically should not move because of the way that the joint is. It just hits against the parts and so on, so there really isn't that much articulation in this mode. However, as I mentioned earlier, the charger gimmick, what happens is that when you actually need to slide this in, and then a cannon will appear on the neck, and it just doesn't look that good. If you keep the charger out just slightly, it will make sure that it doesn't activate, but otherwise it's probably best to just leave it out completely. The charger is pretty much the same as any other Titanosaurus, or the Brachiosaurus as they still call it on the Dino Charger. But we're just going to quickly go over the sounds, which will be the exact same thing we've seen with the other versions of the Rajio Charger, especially the one in the already reviewed Toys R Us exclusive Dino Charger pack that I put on my channel. But here we go. So that's it for the sounds otherwise. We're just going to take this morpher and put it off to the side since we no longer need it for the rest of the review. Anyways, the main feature of the Zord obviously is its way of transforming into the Megazord mode and combinations. What we're going to do is actually pretty much just going to pull it all apart, since we're going to have to attach things and reattach things in order to get it into its correct transformation. So we're just going to put everything apart, and now you just got all the individual components. What we're going to do first is close this, which kind of reminds me of the Dinocom, so it's just like a giant Dinocom. So that's pretty much it. Next, what we're going to do is take... Sorry, the poster's starting to slide down. It does that sometimes because it's being a little warped over time. Anyways, what we're going to do is these will actually form the feet of the Zord. We're just going to reattach them, since now we can keep them into place. It's a lot easier to just pull everything apart because you need it to close up the body component. So now we just put the legs back into place here. What we're going to do next is take these and make sure that the dinosaur head designs on his shoulders face forward. And what we're going to do is take these arms and then close out the feet. So now we got one of the arms. We'll do the same for the other side. It's cool is that this actually has a articulation point. So that's really cool. I'm going to attach that. Now for the head. What we're going to do is take this piece from the Brachiosaur's neck there, pull down the faceplate, and we're just going to snap this up here. And that pretty much finishes off the main the transformation, but we're just going to attach the spear here, and he's just going to hold on to the small handle up here in his hand. So now we got the Brachiosaur, or the Titano Zord, with his weapon. So otherwise, this is still a really cool combination. It's definitely a lot bigger in his Brachiosaur mode, but otherwise, it's still really cool for what it can do. The weapon is a bit obtrusive. It's really huge, and there isn't a whole lot of poses you're going to be able to get with it in hand. Not saying that the articulation is really going to benefit that in the first place, since articulation-wise, his shoulders are on swivels, and the arms can kind of swivel there, so that's all you're going to do. There isn't a whole lot of articulation, which is nothing new from a deluxe Zord figure to begin with. So that's pretty much it for the Brachiosaur, or the Titano Zord, on its own. However, it can combine with the other Zords in the line, which we're just going to go to the main formation, what the Zord is pretty much going to form into. Anyways, we'll be back. Anyways, now we're back. Now, for those who haven't watched Juden Sentai Koryuger, it's going to reflect also in Power Rangers Dino Supercharge. Unfortunately, we have another season which does not include a formation of all the Zords released in the line. Instead, what the final formation consisted of is the main three combinations in the standard Dino Charge Megazord, the Raptor Zord, the Parazord, and the Titano Zord to initiate the full combination, which is technically considered the final combination, but obviously, as I mentioned before, it's not a Zord combined of every single Zord released in this line. Anyways, we're just going to pretty much take this entire Zord apart. So you're going to have to break it down to its individual components once again. So we're just going to pull everything apart. And similar to when you form the Brachiosaur mode, we're just going to keep this open and take it off to the side. But before then, we're actually going to remove this compartment here, which will form the chest compartment. It's rather stuck, so bear with me here. And we're going to take this headpiece out. So that's it for this component at the moment. In order to fully form the final combination, we're just going to take the standard Dino Charge Megazord, and it's just going to pretty much look like this. The back piece is going to be removed, and the helmet is not going to be attached to this combination since it's actually got its own helmet. What we're going to do is take these components and turn them into their leg mode as if you're turning to the Brachiosaur. And we're just going to take this out to the side for now. That's all we're going to do at the moment for that part of the transformation. We're going to take the weapon piece out and leave the neck piece alone. So that's pretty much it there. The main piece, though, which are the front legs of the Brachiosaur, will actually become foot armor pieces, similar to what we've seen with the Plesio Charge Megazord. And we're just going to pull the feet pieces here and lay them flat so they look like this. So now they look like giant boots. So we're going to take these components and, similar to the Plesio Charge just mentioned earlier, we're just going to snap them down on the feet here. Fortunately, my Dino Charge Megazord has gone a bit loose over time, so this might be a little bit tricky just to get it into place. So here we go. So now we got these giant boots. Next, what we're going to do is take the... where is it? Oh yeah, here. We're just going to quickly put on the helmet here, so it looks like this. So you almost got it fully combined. What we're going to do is take the Megazord, and we're going to transfer it into the limb mode, because this will actually become a shoulder cannon for this combination. In the Japanese version of the release, it actually had a separate silver piece that went over the shoulder, but it's not prevalent here, so we're just going to snap this into place. Right now, the Zord isn't quite into frame, but I will fix it as soon as we initiate the final combination, so bear with me here. So that's pretty much it. We're going to attach the shoulder there. We're going to take the Raptor Zord, and it's actually going to attach to the neck piece here to form the top part of the spear. So we're going to do the same, transferring it into its limb mode, and we're going to snap this into place. So now it looks like this. So that's pretty much it for the spear weapon itself. We're going to plug the spear weapon into the hand, but unfortunately, this is made of a soft rubbery plastic similar to the other type of pieces that can attach to the hand, so this could be a bit tricky, and over time, if you keep in a funky position, it might warp over time, so keep that in mind. And to finish off the main part of the combination, we're just going to attach this chest panel over the chest here, which is the reason why those pegs were on the front of the Dino Charge Megazord. And that's gonna almost finish up the full combination, but we're gonna actually change angles here so we can finish the final part of the combination. And now that we got the Zord better in frame, we're going to finish out the combination. Now what I like to do is actually, instead of using the standard tail that came with the T-Rex, I'm actually going to use the smaller tail used for the Spinozord. Now the reason why is because I like to actually keep the larger tail with the Spinozord combination, and this actually fits decent enough and helps with space when attaching this. Now when the Zord was initially shown from prototype photos and so on, I was hoping this would have been possible, and I'm very happy to find out that it is possible, since now I can actually use the tail for the Spinozord combination without needing to get another version of the Zord, just to get the larger tail. What we're going to do is slide this over the back. It's going to form the full piece here. Now unfortunately, because it's a lot shorter, it's not going to stay as secure. With this one, the actual tail piece is a lot longer in the sliding mechanism there, so it stays on better. It stays decent enough. As long as you don't move it around too much, it should stay in place. And that's the full combination for this Zord. Now, in Japan, it's called Giganto Koryujin. However, at the moment, we do not know the American name of this combination. It's probably some ludicrous combination name like we've seen in the past, just adding a bunch of names to Zords. So far, what we've seen, then add formation at the end. So I don't know. It's going to be kind of a lame name, I think, up to this point. However, I do give Bandai America major props here, since they seem to have learned from their past mistakes. Another reason I was afraid about the American version of the Titano Zord is, seeing as what happened to the Turbo Falcon, where the chest component was not fully painted, it looked really bland and it just looked ugly since it wasn't fully complete. I am happy to see that the stickers, which are supposed to represent all these, pretty much the guardian dinosaurs for Dino Charge, are present on the chest, and I'm very happy that Bandai America kept that intact. Now, this actually has one technical more formation. Anyways, to fully activate like its finisher, what it did is that it actually used this kind of cannon formed by some of the kibble pieces that are left in the combination. And technically, I guess since to make it a lot easier, we're actually going to remove the weapon, since the neck piece will actually work as a support piece for the large cannon in the final attack formation. So we're just going to disassemble that, disconnect this piece here, and this piece will just serve as a back piece to the cannon. So we're just going to reattach the Titano Zord head here, since it'll be less kibble that way. And this is supposed to attach to the back here. Before that, we're actually going to place this in the back here. Now, unlike the Plesio charge, where apparently there was a slot where you're supposed to plug it in, it was too tight of a grip, so the black connection piece inside, as I mentioned in the video, would actually snap off on a lot of people. Luckily, it's not a problem with this release. As you can see, it easily attaches and reattaches. So at least they kept it intact to help with having less kibble. This piece will actually just attach the back here. From the looks of it, I'm actually not too familiar with this part, since I've never actually tried this one. It's supposed to attach somewhere back here. Okay, so actually, I realized that it actually has a slot here. So just slot in, and there we go. Now, we got the final cannon initiated. A moment. Things are starting to fall apart on me. I don't know why. Okay, reattach. Let's just place this back here. So now we got the final cannon. So you can see with this formation, the Koryugers, well, pretty much the same thing for the Dino Charge Rangers. It hasn't appeared in the show yet, so we don't exactly know how they're going to initiate this. But they're pretty much going to use the same footage. So what happens is that all the Guardian Judenchi would actually attach inside of this component here in order to initiate the final attack. Now, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, they're not able to go inside the compartment there, but it does what it needs to do. At least they molded in something that's supposed to represent it, even if it's not quite accurate. You can attach this to the top here too, but this technically just becomes a kibble piece to go off to the side. So that's pretty much it for the final combination. Just to show a little comparison, as an extra bonus, we're just going to detach all the components here. The neck piece fell. And now, I'm just going to show off how different the area between the battery and the flat panel here. Now, as you can see, even though the chargers are just a little smaller than the actual chargers in the way that they're molded, even if they were to allow you to actually put in the chargers, this would be a lot bigger, and it will cost a lot more money to produce, so it's understandable why they did not feature that. So that pretty much finishes off the full review for the Titano Zord. However, now we're going to put all the Zords together to see one final look of all the Zords seen on the show. And now I have all the Power Rangers Dino Charge and Dino Supercharged Zords all together. It has been a very long run going to this point. However, it's been a lot faster than some of the other previous seasons we have in the past in the Neo Saban era. I'm very impressed with what Bandai America's done to release all the Zords in the line, including a bunch of non-show Zords, and they've done an impressive job in the releases that they did up to this point. I am very happy to finally own all the Zords from one of the cooler design seasons we got in the past for Power Rangers. Now, I got this Titano Zord for around $35 before shipping. With shipping, it was around $44. It's a bit pricey, but it was still worth it for what it can actually do. I think it's actually still available on Amazon as of this recording. I've yet to check, but that's probably the best bet in order to get a hold of the Titano Zord at this moment. Anyways, please comment and subscribe and check out Hero Taku and Hero Club. Also, please check down the other channels down below, and don't forget to check me out on Twitter under Darkon633. I'll be back in the future to bring more Power Rangers reviews, but for now, I'll be seeing you YouTube. Bye.